Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CM Trading. Today is March 1st, 2022, and today is Tuesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, Bitcoin explodes. We're going to take a look at that in just a second. But first, major economic events of the day out of the United States. ISM Manufacturing PMI numbers coming out at 5 p.m. South African time. Now, as we look at the markets, and as the market are still rattled by the Ukrainian-Russian conflict, looking at the Forex symbols, the euro, the British pound both bounce, while the Australian dollar is so strong that it's on major resistance. I'm looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both bounce. Commodities, oil holding its gains while gold pretty much unchanged at 1900. Looking at the stocks, Apple and Microsoft are the biggest gainers. Well, lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin explosion. Let's discuss why in just a second. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So hoo-wee, this is a market to trade. This is really a tremendous market to trade. Yesterday, we had this double bottom for a Monday, and we bounced off of it to 1216. Now, we're not in the middle. We're still under our par value of 1348. The reason I call it par value is because I look at the moving averages just basically as par value, okay? So we're a little bit oversold still, okay? So there's still room for us to bounce here, okay? But be wary, because as the news still comes out of the Ukraine, you know, things are going to be turning for very different reasons and different directions in the next few days. Now, looking at the GBP/USD also, we got that bounce yesterday to 134. But the question is whether or not these bounces are going to be dead cat bounces. Hold on with that thought for a second. But looking at the Aussie dollar, look at that. We're looking at a daily on this major resistance-ish level. Now, we tried to hit this back in January, and we didn't particularly break out. Now, we're right here, once again, at 0.7280, 87 right now. Okay, let's go for what it is. And we're just trying to break above it. Okay, so this is a major resistance level. Okay, with that said, when we look at the U.S. markets, okay, before we do, let's look at the commodities first. Crude oil trading at 97.48. We hit $100 and then we retraced down from it to $91, and now we're bouncing back. Okay, so it's a roller coaster ride, right? It's a tremendous roller coaster ride trading the commodities right now, but they are trading. Okay, now looking at gold, pretty much unchanged here at 1906. Okay, not a big deal here as it's made this correction. Now looking at the Dow Jones trading at 33. Let's call it 34,000. Okay, that's what it is. If we look at a 1 hour chart, there we go. 34,000, getting that stronger. Okay, yesterday we were trading at 33,200. Okay, and we just went up above it. Now there's a minor resistance here, okay, but if we break this out on the upside, we could see it at 34,500. Now this is all dependent on how much, okay, and how well we do with Ukraine and Russia coming to some sort of terms, okay? If there's some sort of peace agreement or some sort of land swap agreement, whatever it is, then we possibly will have, okay, a nice rally, okay? But still, you know, I still think that we're going to have a very choppy market, because this thing in the Ukraine could go several ways still. So it's a lot news driven. So just be careful. Looking at the NASDAQ, okay, we did get that bounce also. We went from 13,000 up to 14,300-ish level here. Okay, so that's a very decent move in the past day. Okay, so keep that in mind as this has continuously been bouncing. Now, the two components, okay, of the NASDAQ that were the ones that went the highest, if you look at them, is Apple, okay, going from 152 up to 65 over the past couple of days. But yesterday we went from 62 to 65. And if we look at Microsoft, also bouncing to 298. Now that 300 level is a resistance-ish level, so I would take a look at that very carefully. Now the other ones did gain, okay, but nothing really to write home about. Facebook gained a little bit, Amazon gained a little bit, okay, Cisco gained a little bit. These are things that gain, but you know, overall, I'm talking about the biggest gainers, and that's where it is. Now, looking at Tesla also did gain very big yesterday from 813, 820-ish level all the way up to 870. It's a $50 move in one day. Now, again, we are hitting a parameter where we're getting closer to somewhat of a resistance-ish area. So keep that in mind as this continues. Jpmorgan was actually down on the day yesterday. Look at that on its lows, and doesn't look like it's bouncing, okay? If it does break this area, 141, if it does break this area, this is really very key. 141 is really a very key area. Then we can see back in the 100-ish range, okay? 114 is the next real support level. Okay, so really, this is 1 and 1, it's not doing fantastic. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, look at this massive move yesterday from 38,000 up to 43,000. Now, we're hitting resistance-ish area. 44,800 is resistance-ish area, so just be aware of it. Now, why is this happening? Okay, well, let's take a look at what's happening in Russia itself. Markets are tanking. The stock market was closed for Monday because they were afraid too many people would withdraw their money. So they shut it down. They halted the market, which they can do. Okay, it's no big deal. So where are they going to go to? Okay, so they go to Bitcoin. Okay, that's the other alternative right now. So between gold and Bitcoin, those are the two assets that are going to be going to. Now, gold historically is not one that we trade in. It's not one that we consumers don't use it. Bitcoin, however, it's still usable as consumers. So I would imagine that Bitcoin's going to actually rally again in light of the situation that we're in right now. So keep that in mind, all right? And when you see breakouts, definitely jump on it because, these moves are so extreme on the upside, they could potentially go up very nicely. And I like it, especially when you do have some major volume here, and we got that here. So that's really very, very important. So keep that in mind later today. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.